Hello, and welcome to Windrose, a game about being a pirate washed up on a shore after finding a dark and mysterious artifact. Tonight, I'll be playing as our companion here, Q, and quietly making our way through the ocean and islands in an attempt to lull you into a soft slumber. We find ourselves washed up upon the shore of an island, scavenging for supplies and hoping to make our way back to find our lost crew and the artifact that was stolen from us. I really love open world games like this. There's just something so charming about building a base and progressing in these games that always has me coming back to the genre. A little coastal dodo here. This game, in terms of melee mechanics, has some stuff very similar to Sekiro, with the parry timings of enemies and the guard break or posture system. But our first goal here is to build a bonfire, and that will designate exactly where our first base will be. And luckily for us, the beach which we've spawned on is very, very flat. So we'll go ahead and put down our first structure, the bonfire. Now that we have that, we can go ahead and put down a workbench and a cooking station to give ourselves access to a little bit of crafting. First order is to make a few bandages so that we can heal ourselves and to cook some of the meat that we have found. And just like that, our journey begins. If I had to say what this game reminds me most of, it's a mixture of Valheim and Sea of Thieves, except on a solo experience. Now we're to build a tent, which we need more wood for. But since we do have access to a crafting table now, we should be able to make ourselves some stone tools, including a stone axe and pickaxe. We'll nab the axe first, simply because this will let us get more wood easier. And then the pickaxe second. A little fun having the trees balance on your head, although they can indeed hurt you when they fall. A few more stone and we should be good to make that pickaxe. That should be enough. This game does progress rather quickly, which I am a fan of. It slows down very slightly once you need to build your boat and rescue your crew, but beyond that, I feel as though the pacing of progression in it is very, very nice. A couple of dodos slain, a few dodo eggs in our inventory. And one thing I have enjoyed a lot about this game so far is the soundtrack. Okay, so we have our first couple of items, and then we'll go ahead and plop down our tent. This lets us set our revival point anywhere in the world. We can go ahead and destroy some of this ship debris to get ourselves some nails and wood. And also to have it not be so in the way if we so desire to build a proper home somewhere around here. Which we will do eventually, just not right now. This game features some RPG mechanics in that you are able to level up your character via the quests that are presented to you. If we go and slaughter a boar really quick, if I'm able to find one. Ah, and there we go. So most of the time, enemies will aggro socially on you. And combat, as you can see, can be a little on the punishing side. Personally, I think the enemy damage can be scaled back a slight bit. But also, we have not eaten our food to increase our maximum health. And there we go. Now we should be able to take 1 or 2 more hits from these boars. And now we have the big one after us. We're going to focus on parrying the hits and retaliating after we parry. Now its posture is broken, but we're out of stamina. And just like that, that's the first real boar taken down. That gives us access to the rough hide, and thus a few other craftable items, including our very first set of armor. And so our goal updates to crafting a new pair of boots. And for that, we need some coarse fabric to make a crafting table. And also, if I remember correctly, that building structure needs to be under a roof. So let's go ahead and make ourselves a small temporary structure to build under. We'll worry about getting a nice home setup later on, when we have access to more building items and more decorations. But for now, we'll gather some plant fiber. Let me change my inventory so I don't accidentally eat food over and over again. We'll gather some plant fiber and some wood, and go ahead and build a small but temporary shelter to be able to craft what we need to get by on our first day on this island. Q is a simple fellow, captain of a ship, previously, and we are going to find that boat, or find a boat, raise it back into the water, rescue our crew, and sail into the open seas in search of the people who wronged us, build a reputation for ourselves among the locals, and find out what exactly has been going on these islands. There are a lot of mysteries surrounding Windrose, and a lot of fun little lore tidbits that we'll be going through as we play. There are journal entries and notes and captain's logs that we can find throughout the game that I will be reading aloud for your listening pleasure. But for now, we'll go ahead and build out a small pier so that we can have a place to call home sooner rather than later. And actually, I think we're going to expand a little bit further into the land here. Right about here looks good for our first starting home. So let's go ahead and lay out just a small little rectangle for ourselves. Otherwise, it's going to take quite a long time to build. And of course, with the sun setting and night coming, there are creatures of the dark that begin to surface around the island. Luckily for us, though, we can sleep through the night if we so wish. I'm going to add some entrances on either side of our cabin here to allow us to pass through nice and easily in our little bungalow cavern or house that we're going to have. Okay, I will say that's good enough for now. We'll build our roof. And call it a night. The visuals of this game are amazing. I really do love the art style and the general feel of this game. It does a great job of really making you feel like you're a pirate trapped in a world that is beyond your understanding. We'll go ahead and place down some extra framing for our door. Or doors, plural. And then, where are the doors? I could have sworn I just saw them. Are they really not in the walls? Windows and doors. I am a blind man. Oh, we need more plant fiber. That's fine. There's an abundance of that out here, so it's not like we're going to have a shortage anytime soon. If there is one critique I have for this game, it's simply that the early game can feel a little lackluster in that you spend a lot of time gathering materials and fighting boars. And then after that, once you get to the ability to be on your ship with its cannons and crew, then the game really starts to take off and the open world feels accessible to you. We do get access to a vessel prior to that to sort of island hop and find our way around this wonderful ocean area. But after that, when we have a true vessel, is when the game really begins to take off. And hopefully, in this episode, we'll get that far. We will most likely do some small windows up at the top here. And we can even do them somewhat church style, in that we have, or can make, a small little diamond shape, just like that. If you have stumbled upon this channel and would like to support it, of course you can do the normal YouTube things. Any kind of interaction with this tells me that you guys enjoy this content and want to see more of it. So you can do the normal things of liking and subscribing to the channel. It would mean quite a lot. I'm also more than happy to take suggestions on what games to play next and any improvements that you guys may or may not have to the general format of my content. We'll put down some rudimentary stairs. One thing that would be nice would be to be able to open doors while in the building mode. That would be a very welcome change. Let's go ahead and move our processing stuff on over. We'll put our campfire outside because that seems more safe than having it indoors. Right, we need coarse fabric. So let's go ahead and place down our workbench. Go ahead and craft ourselves some coarse fabric. And with that, we are able to progress and create our clothing station, where we can make armor and other materials to help us survive in the wild. And so we have a new pair of boots. Out with the old and in with the new. Our house does indeed look a little plain, but we can fix that with a couple of adjustments here and there. Whether that's adding a window or two, or just generally we'll just add some extra visual flair via some windows. As much of a aesthetic person as I am, building in a game like this is not necessarily my strong suit, but we'll do our best to make a proper little home for Q to be happy in. And once again, it looks like we are out of plant fibers. Early on, and I suppose especially when building, you go through plant fibers incredibly quickly. Also, in this game, there is a form of farming, but it more of is along the lines of finding seeds and then simply planting those seeds and waiting. There isn't too much in the way of actual interaction or progressional farming, which in a way makes sense. I think this game is designed to be very explorative as opposed to something more like Stardew, where your intent is to have a permanent residence. But that doesn't mean that we can't make our residence look nice. With that, I think we are just about done. We'll just plop in the last of these windows. Let's add an angle. Oh, never mind. I'm out of plant fiber yet again. And again, this wouldn't be nearly as bad if we weren't building a more intricate structure with windows and doors and all of that. The game does provide some pre-made homes if you do wish to not interact with the building systems in it, which is a great quality of life option for those who just want to sail the open seas and enjoy the visuals and sounds and combat in this game. Because personally, I think that is its strongest suit. And with that, we have a nice, airy, open cabin. Lots of mosquitoes might be able to get in here, but at least we won't be burning up when we're trying to sleep. And speaking of sleep, let's go ahead and craft ourselves a bed. Something to help pass the night. I don't think we are ready enough just yet to combat the horrific monsters that are on the ocean at night. So it is now daytime yet again, and we are off to explore our island a little bit. There is some copper ore nearby in a cave that will allow us to upgrade our gear. But before we do that, let's go ahead and make some storage to allow ourselves to alleviate some of our inventory space. And on top of that, we may be even able to make a backpack for ourselves to expand our inventory just the slightest amount. Apologies, people are driving by at very high speeds on the roads. Okay, so that should be enough plant fiber. And actually, we have all of these shrub seeds, so let's go ahead and put them down around our home. Some flora to brighten up our property a little bit. I was going to make a backpack. So we need a piece of rope, and now we have a torn sailcloth bag, improving the lengths of our inventory just a little bit. Next, let's go ahead and build a storage bale. We need 10 coarse fabric and 5 rope. Let's go ahead and craft those and make a little bale for us to store our goods in. What is nice about just about every storage in this game is they are stackable, which means you can put them on top of one another. And with that, we have a free inventory to go get a good amount of copper from the nearby mine. Actually, before we do this, I am going to grab a little bit of wood because I know mines are quite dark and we might just be able to build some lighting inside the mines to find our way to them, should we have to traverse them in the dark. It is a beautiful day outside, and I spent quite a while sitting out there with my dog today, talking on the phone and just enjoying the summer breeze and the sun hitting my skin. There's not much else like just enjoying nature, and I live in a spot where doing that is very, very easy. There's so much beauty in the environment around me that it's hard not to appreciate where I live. So, we are in a dark cave. Luckily, we can go ahead and build some of these braziers to allow us to see in the dark. And here we have our very first bit of copper ore. And that updates our quest of how my shore adventure began and adds a new key discovery to our journal, copper ore, which we will use to make copper bars and, of course, subsequently, better tools and better armor and possibly new weapons to face and fight our foes with. As a sailor, we will most likely be sticking to a cutlass, but there are a myriad of different weapons in this game for us to use. So maybe we'll test out some others and see what we like. For the most part, I've been genuinely enjoying this game. I have played it a little bit, but I wanted to share my experience with it with you guys. I think genuinely this is the first decent pirate-style game to come out in a long while. Genuinely, the last fun experience I had on a pirate game was with either Sea of Thieves or Assassin's Creed Black Flag. And Black Flag does a masterful job of bringing the fantasy of being a pirate to life. Whether it's the interactions of the crew, sailing the ocean, or boarding vessels and doing, piratey things. In Black Flag, you really do get to feel like a terror on the ocean and that your crew has your back at every corner. It was such a great game, and it was a shame to see Ubisoft fumble Skull and Bones so hard. I think a large part of that had to do with the way they presented the game, but also many of the design choices that they made really severely impacted the core experience of the game. No boat should have stamina, and while your crew might have difficulty being at sea for days, weeks at a time in real life, I think the separation of fantasy and, realism, at least for the sake of a player's enjoyment, is much more important than having a stamina bar for a boat. Luckily, this game has learned from Skull and Bones' failures, and we don't have a stamina bar for our boat. Instead, we get a crew of men willing to sing shanties and sail to our heart's content along the ocean blue, as well as raid other pirate ships with us when we get them to drop anchor or to give up and loot to our heart's content. But for now, that is in the future. We have many a rock to destroy with our pick, and many a ore to smelt when we return. We will have to chop down a fair bit of trees. After all, charcoal is very important for smelting ore. One thing I think that is very, very interesting for metal making is how charcoal works as a whole. When you starve oxygen from wood as it is reaching those high smoke points, it essentially condenses all of that combustible carbon down, and you end up with such a purely concentrated flame from charcoal that is perfect for reaching the high temperatures required for smelting metal and making anything out of metals. It does beg the question of when humanity figured out how to create charcoal. And that's something I've never really researched myself personally. But I love metalsmithing and, blacksmithing stuff. When I was a child, I used to want to do that for a living. But it's hard to make money as a metalsmith nowadays, unless you make very high quality tools for people. But even getting started as a blacksmith as a profession can be incredibly expensive. It's a high investment for a potential non payment. And I suppose my career as a voice actor started the same way. I had to buy a high quality microphone after I was doing it for a bit. And then beyond that, all that I am using is my time. Whereas if I had gone to blacksmith and forge things, there's a high material cost for stuff like that. And then beyond that, when you fail at a project, those materials can go to waste. And that would be my biggest fear for doing that as a career, is that the materials that I would buy would end up being wasted by my own incompetence. But, everybody learns at a different rate, myself included. Now, our inventory is full. Let's not waste the precious plant fiber around here. We'll go back, we'll deposit our copper ore that we have mined so frivolously, and then see what we can do. Being close to our home gives us a nice little rested bonus, which adds some extra stamina regen, as well as some much needed, well, I think it actually is just the stamina regen. And with that, Dr. Gallon is here visiting on our island. He says, "Oh, thank God, it's you. I cannot imagine. You cannot imagine how glad I am to see you, Captain. You hired me but a day before we sailed, so allow me to introduce myself once again. Gallon Skelton, ship's surgeon. I'm truly delighted you survived. So how'd you end up here on dock?" "After the boarding, the pirates dragged me to their camp to stitch wounds and treat hangovers. Fortunately, I managed to commandeer a boat and escape. Lucky I ran into you. Sticking together gives us a fighting chance. Please, let me stay in your camp." "Okay, make yourself comfortable, but I've got a few questions." "Gladly, I'll tell you everything I can." "Any ideas how we get out of here?" "Not far from here, I saw a few ships run aground. Some of them still looked salvageable. Even so, managing the repairs with just the two of us will be a tall task. Miracles do indeed happen, but without a cup of coffee, I'm hardly capable of them. The pirates took many prisoners, not just me. We must free them. They can help repair a ship and return us to civilization." And with that, that begins the next main quest. I need a bigger boat and rescuing the crew. Really quick though, we do need to mine ourselves some good old-fashioned clay for the purposes of building a kiln and a smelter. The kiln will aid us in making our charcoal that we need to make our bars. And the first upgrade I'm going to be getting is some better tools, so that we can mine and chop just that little bit faster. After that, it's straight for the weapon upgrade, and then we'll see. We need a lot of nails in order to be able to repair our boat, but those can be easily acquired via the shipwrecks around. There are also some other points of interest on our starting island that we can go explore, and many a boar left to be slain as well. My biggest bottleneck right now most likely will be the rough hides that we need from boar in order to create our new weapon and our new armor, as well as upgrading them both. But that will have to come soon. We'll go ahead and gather the other clay that is over here, adding it to our inventory. I do wish that items stacked just a little bit more in this game, but that's okay. It does seem like there's quite a bit of inventory upgrades for the player, so I'm more than happy to deal with a small inventory if it means that I can get a larger one later down the line. I think next I would want to start a playthrough of either Dark Souls or Skyrim for this channel. Today we're doing some Windrose. I think tomorrow we'll go back and play a little bit more of Last Epoch. That game is very, very fun, and we're getting close to the end of the campaign. Beyond that, the end game of Last Epoch is slightly repetitive, so it gives me space to focus less on the combat and more on just talking about what is happening, what we're doing, what we're looking for gear upgrade wise. I think that'll be a nice and relaxing way to go about things. And again, if you are enjoying this content and have any games that you want to see me play, I am more than happy to oblige. I do realize that I am sort of going into the lower bit of register that my voice has, so I don't mean to be raspy and all that, but here we are. Okay, so I think we're able now to build our first refining spots for metal. We'll put that around the side of the home. Actually, we'll put it right at the front entrance. So with this, the charcoal kiln allows us to, you guessed it, make charcoal, and the furnace allows us to make bars of whatever we need. But for both, we'll need more wood, the ash of which can later be used to make gunpowder, I assume. And then the charcoal itself used as fuel for our fires. Once we have our new tools, we'll go out into the world and see if we can't defeat some of the wild animals, in the hopes of getting some more furs to upgrade our weapons and armor just that bit more. As it stands, the stone tools that we have, the broken cutlass and the faulty pistol, aren't exactly the best tools for us to take on a pirate empire with. So we'll need some better stuff. Pirate empire, let alone the local wildlife. But out in the distance, on the ocean, we can actually see the Blackbeard pirates patrolling the area looking for ships to plunder. And if we take our little dinghy out there, it will surely notice us. I would say that is most likely enough wood to turn into charcoal. Another 55. we'll take the charcoal that we have and go ahead and begin crafting our first copper bars. I did upload the first episode of this yesterday, and the consensus I got from YouTube was to not use music in it. So we won't be doing that for the future videos, simply for the sake of not receiving copyright strikes on this channel. Though it would be fine if channels that I use music on want to claim the videos for their own monetization purposes. There is actually a fellow YouTuber I quite enjoy that had a fun little loophole for trying to get around the horrendous copyright claim system that YouTube has, where even if you put tons of effort into content, I'm not saying the video I am currently producing, of course. I'm simply sitting here talking calmly into a microphone while I play a video game. But for somebody like Pyrocynical or any other people who enjoy using music in their content, because it does fit the thematics so well, the simple fact that one person can claim the video because of a snippet of a song being in it, and then receive all of the monetization from it when hours upon hours of work have gone into producing it, does not seem right to me. So the other person that I've watched, their name is Yamfa. And to get around this, they made their own music and claimed their own video, which I thought was hilariously smart. It was such a good way to give the middle finger to YouTube's copyright system by saying, no, I own this, I made this, and to further prove that I made this, I'm going to claim my own video through a separate channel. And if you didn't know, Yamfa makes some pretty amazing content about Dark Souls and Skyrim and a lot of other games to show you exactly how broken you can be in as quick of a time as possible. I've watched him for a very, very long time. I'm a massive fan of Yamfa. In fact, we've gone through on my Twitch and done exact walkthroughs of all of the different strats that he employs to show how difficult it can be to pull off some of the tricks that he displays. My respect goes out to him as a content creator because there are not many other people on the platform like him. So we have our weaponsmith workshop. We are able to create a saber as well as the copper axe and copper pickaxe and a shovel, which we will need to, of course, dig up buried treasure. We are a pirate, after all. And what would a pirate game be without some buried treasure for us to get our hands on? While we wait for our copper to smelt and our charcoal to, I suppose, smelt, let's go explore the island a little bit. Whenever you are on an island, there are question marks around it that are points of interest. And they can have anything from garbage items and things that won't help you to new weapons and utilities and crafting recipes to help you expand your base and build new and exciting structures. So, we're going to go ahead and explore a little bit around the island. Make sure we go ahead and eat some of our boiled crab. And also make sure our inventory isn't too full. So here we have a shipwreck with a chest. It has a halberd, a lamp, and a blurry sketch of the island. We'll go ahead and loot everything. And this halberd will be our main weapon for the first little bit here, as well as a fast travel bell in the shipwreck itself. We're going to go ahead and salvage as much as we can from this shipwreck. The nails that we get will be particularly helpful later on. And then after this, we will study the sketch of the island under our curios. Bloody weather, it's got me well and truly stuck, but that's no matter. The chest is buried, and that's what counts. Those filthy bums want to split the loot equally. They can go to hell. Now they'll guard my gold forever. Once the rain sets in, I'll make it to Tortuga and hire a new crew, or buy myself some land, house, and servants included. I should also thank the apothecary. He recommended a fine remedy, very effective. The gold can stay put for now. Gives me time to come up with a suitably tear-soaked tale for the brethren of the coast. Spaniards attacked us, or the English, makes no difference. If only this wind would die down. It howls and bends the palms so fiercely that I start seeing things. If I hadn't killed my own men, I might think they were still here, watching me, alive. And with that, the story of this island begins. There's a pirate's chest for us to find, but we don't have a shovel just yet. The halberd seems a little slow, and it takes quite a lot of stamina to use. But maybe that's okay. The damage it deals will more than likely make up for the speed at which we can swing it. When we do go back home to our little island abode, most likely I'll add some extra furniture to it to increase our comfort level and the amount of time that we can stay outside of our home with this rested bonus. That truly does affect the level of exploration we can do in one fell swoop. The other thing that affects that is our inventory size, but that is something that we'll have to wait to upgrade until we get some more hide from boars. As I stated earlier, the hide from boars is the largest bottleneck for us to progress for a long time in this game. Whether it's gear upgrades, boat upgrades, or generally crafting things. And speaking of some boars, hello. The speed of this weapon is just ever so slightly slow. Oh, these hurt. Ooh, we are dead. That happens. As is expected of picking up a weapon for the first time and attempting to use it. Primarily, I think we're going to upgrade our stamina because it really does affect so much in this game. The damage that we have from this is very nice, though, I will say. Being able to two-shot those dodos this early on is quite a nice feat. There are quite a lot of boar here, too. I think we will go ahead and fight. And there we go. A nice display of skill. And there should be 3 more boar for us to take on nearby. It does seem as though we can just continually left-click the sows and stun lock them to be able to take them on effectively. And hopefully these 3 boar are still by. Oh, no. It happens. That's alright. Let's go back. Luckily, dying is not very punished in this game, other than dropping items that are not on your hotbar, and not dropping your equipment either, which is very welcome. Enemies in this game can be incredibly punishing to fight, especially in the early game when your gear is not up to snuff with the damage that enemies can output. But that will soon change. And another boar down. Those 2 sows should be nearby as well. What am I unable to pick up? We do not need our broken cutlass or the feather. And the stone is fine to go as well. The animal fat, though, I will take. We can get rid of 2 of these shrub seeds, I suppose. There we go. Let us head back and go ahead and upgrade our weapon as well as craft a shovel and maybe, just maybe, improve our inventory space just slightly. Hopefully enough of the copper has crafted for us to build a new tool as well. That would make chopping trees a little bit easier, or gathering more copper easier as well. So we have, let us store what we have in the chest really quick. There we go. And I actually did not start crafting more copper. Unfortunate. Oh wait, no, we do have 8 on us. I will have to make more storage soon. It does say to craft a melee weapon, so we'll try crafting the saber. And now it wants us to upgrade a weapon. And to upgrade the halberd, we actually don't need boar hide, which is very nice. We'll go ahead and store the saber we made for now, as well as the wood and clay. And also make some more storage because we need it. There we go. That should be good. Okay, let's see what we can cook really quick. Bacon and eggs. Nice. Some boiled crab. And then, of course, some dodo broth. Go ahead and take all the food that we can. And what will it take to make a better backpack? We need 2 more rough hide and 1 more copper ore, or copper ingot. And it is getting dark. I think we will rest until morning so that the creepy crawlies of the night won't be able to bother us. I think we have to get up in order to have time continue to move on. We can see the clouds passing by as our character sleeps through the night and into the morning once more. And so a new day dawns, and we have these same goals that we had prior. I wonder if sleeping through the night helps our copper to craft. We have 5 more ingots on us. I think we need just a little bit more in order to upgrade our halberd. Yes, we need 1 more. We'll patiently wait. I don't mind burning a little bit of daylight for just 1 more copper bar. And then I have crafted a copper bar or a halberd instead of upgrading mine, which is unfortunate. That's okay. Mistakes happen. We learn and move on. Let's, well, since we're waiting anyway for the other bars to craft again, let's go ahead and head on out and over to one of the other spots to explore. I do like and dislike the experience system in this game. I think it's interesting that you don't get experience for defeating enemies, but you do get experience for completing quests. So it isn't helpful to just mindlessly go out into the world and fight enemies to your heart's content, but to have direction and purpose to your exploration is the point. And I think that's very, very cool. It's definitely a better way to go about it than just telling the player to go explore for the sake of exploring. And while some games do that incredibly well, I feel like this game benefits a lot from having a lot of reasons to explore its world. This is actually our first starred enemy, an enemy that has a higher difficulty than the ones previous. So these thick vines are blocking a path to the cellar, and also it seems we have angered an enemy nearby. Ah, there are 2 azure dodos making their way toward us at breakneck pace. I really do love the sweeping attacks that this halberd has. It makes dealing with multiple enemies very efficient. And our inventory is nice and empty too, so exploring around and looting what we can should be a simple task. We will enter the cellar momentarily, but there is an ancient chest right here that we will happily take its contents. And of course, more bushes for us to hit and more dodo eggs for us to acquire. It's almost like they went extinct for a reason. So down here we have our first encounter with the drowned. Enemies that are presumably sailors that have died at sea or in storms. And that don't flinch very easily, apparently. Also, that like to throw rocks. We're going to sit here and we'll parry and block. It doesn't seem as though we can actually parry with the 2-handed weapons. That is good to know. I wonder if on the skill tree there's an option to learn how to parry with 2-handed weapons. We obtain some healing herbs, a necklace of precision, and some more healing herbs. And with that, this area is fully explored. On to the next one. Although I think, really quick, we are going to go back home and deposit our inventory. It is feeling quite full. And again, those bars should be done crafting. Hopefully. It could also just be that the parry window for two-handed weapons is much tighter than that of one-handed weapons. But I don't think so. I think we're simply not able to parry with a two-handed weapon, which is an interesting downside to using them. One that I understand, because there should be a drawback to the insane amount of damage that we are able to output. But also, interesting that it limits your defensive options when using a larger, more hefty weapon. And again, the Blackbeard vessels slowly stalking our base on the outside. It's such a funny sight to see. Let's go ahead and grab however many copper bars we have made. And this time, instead of creating a weapon, we will upgrade our weapon. And our inventory is once again full. Lucky for us, there is a quick stack button for all of the chests, which is very convenient. Okay, there is something we can build to help us dismantle items that we no longer need, but we need one more copper in order to obtain it. So let's go ahead and queue up as many bars as we can, and I'm gonna sit tight and wait for just a little bit. There's nothing like a nice ice-cold coffee on a hot day. For your guys' viewing pleasure, I keep my air conditioning off in this room when I'm recording these, so it does get quite squelchingly hot in here. But it's better than having constant air blowing into my microphone. I'm not going to sit here and put you guys through that. That just doesn't seem right. Where do we want to put our disassembly table? I'm not going to lie, the home that we have built might get quite cramped in the close future. But that's okay. Right, we left the other halberd in there. Okay. So let's go ahead and disassemble our level 1 halberd that I crafted by mistake. That gives us all of the materials back and lets us upgrade our halberd yet again to level 3. Another 7 copper and we'll be able to upgrade it to level 4, and then 7 again for level 5. But I think the next couple or bunch of copper bars that we produce will go towards upgrading our base. And speaking of our base, I think we have enough. Or we should be able to go on another copper run here soon. I would love to make the sailor's backpack, but we need a higher level workstation to do so, which takes 10 copper ingots. And so I'm going to go ahead and make the copper pickaxe our next priority to get as much copper as possible from the mine that we're going toward. This time we'll make sure to bring back a little bit of extra wood into there so we can light it up as much as possible to see any ore that we may or may not have missed. I think it's one more bar, so just a little bit more patience and we'll be good to go. The beginning of this game reminds me a lot of getting started in Valheim. Sometimes it can be a little bit of waiting around, but more than that, it's just fun to have this primitive area where we are creating these tools and progressing. And with that, our stone pickaxe is done and done. Into the water it goes, in place of a beautiful copper pickaxe. We will chop a tree or two down, grab us some wood, and then head on over to the mines yet again to get ourselves as much copper as we can and see what we may or may not have missed in that shaft. We're almost to the point where we're done with this starter island. I would love to make the rest of the armor and upgrade it as much as I can prior to leaving. But for that, we need more boar, and more boar are on more islands. So we'll explore to the best extent that we can. One thing I would really like to see is a world in this game that's more procedural, if that makes sense. I feel like having the same islands every single time can be slightly tedious if one plans to play this game with friends multiple times. Not that I have people to play this game with, but you know what I mean. I think if somebody were to play through this game multiple times, the tedium of exploring the exact same map over and over would get slightly old. So here we are, back in the caves, with our lighting ready to go. It looks as though we've mined this part out, basically completely. The waste rock now gets destroyed in one swing, which is very nice. That is quite convenient. Going to light our path with a couple more braziers. Seems like we can mine that whole area out. And there's some more copper we missed right here. From what I have noticed, it does take quite a long time for the ore to respawn in this game. And when I was looking online at modifications to Windrose, a lot of the stuff people seem to be making is to lower the amount of time it takes to acquire resources so that you can spend more time doing the fun parts of this game. Or I guess what I should say is doing what the community has considered to be the fun parts of this game, which is the boat combat and the exploration aspects of it. People seem to want to speed up the resource collection part, but I think there is some catharsis in the smacking of a rock with a pickaxe for a while. So ideally, we will get to the point where we have our boat, our actual boat, and then I will stop this episode there. I do have quite a bit of time today to just relax and take it easy, so we will do so in a nice and leisurely fashion. This cave is much better with all the lighting in it. I will have to do this for all of the caves I go to explore from now on. We didn't get a whole lot of copper, but it's better than nothing. Let's go back and toss it into the forge and get it smelting away. I really think this game is pretty to look at. I love the jungle environments and the coastlines and the looming ships off in the distance, and I'm excited to see the other areas. For the most part, in my playthroughs thus far, I've only explored the minimum of this game, and I am excited to see the new areas and other environments that I have yet to traverse. We have another 10 copper bars, which lets us go ahead and craft our upgrade to our crafting station. A nice sawhorse, sorry. A nice sawhorse to allow for some new options at our workbench. 2 more copper ingots and we'll be able to craft our larger backpack, which would be amazing. And just like that, we have a bigger inventory. Huzzah, another line of items able to be acquired. Seeing as it is indeed still daytime, let's go out and explore just a little bit more. Actually, I think for the next zone, or not zone, but the next things we wish to accomplish, we do need a shovel. So I will sit around and maybe build some more on our house while we wait. Some extra decoration to aid in our comfort level around our home. Maybe a bench or two and a chair, bench in the shade, a chair at the table, and a stool or two to make just that little bit more comfortable. A shelf here or there, a wardrobe, or more likely a place to store some cups. Let me craft some coarse fabric really quick. There we go. Add a canopy or two to overhang our door to stop ourselves from getting soaked immediately whenever we leave our home. Oh, I forgot to take the fabric. That'll do it. Huzzah. That brings our comfort level up to 7. And we'll add some torches on the inside of our home to light things up a little bit. Make it so it's easier to see while we're in here. And then a couple of cups on our table, bucket beside it, and maybe a bowl or two here or there. Let's craft some rope really quick. And as always, I forgot to take the rope that we made. It's okay. Let's go ahead and craft a large fishing barrel. And I think that makes our comfort level as high as we can get it for this starting area. And with that, we have 2 more areas to explore before we are I think it's 3. I did not mean to take the entirety of this chest. I always forget what button does what for this. There's so many games that have different hotkeys to move items around in inventory stashes. When you play so many different games, it can be difficult to remember exactly which button does what in what particular game. But we have 7 more copper bars that we can use, and I think, really quick, we're going to make a cooking upgrade. A small table for us to help prepare our dishes on, and improve our workspace for cooking. We are out of wood though, so a quick chopping session is in order. I am very surprised at just how long it takes those bushes to grow on the front of our house. It's quite a while. There we go. And that should unlock some extra recipes for us. And we can go ahead and turn this boar meat into more bacon and eggs. Let us store what we can. And make ourselves a shovel. And leave our base in search of treasures new. We have quite a lot of food on us. Can't say I'm not happy about that. So, whenever we leave our base area, now our rested buff from the comfort of our home is for 17 minutes, which is not too shabby. The stamina regeneration that we get from that is amazing. So, let's go ahead and try to dig up this pirate treasure really quick. There's a sow here that we did not finish off, actually. I'm not gonna complain about some extra animal hide. Aha, there's some skeletons nearby. And so I imagine if we dig right about here, we'll find a chest. And examining the chest, it's battered but still locked. That means the valuables are probably still inside. The moment your palm touches the old wood, you hear a familiar rasp behind you, and the air fills with the stink of rotten fish and shellfish. It is an ambush of drowned. But nothing a little bit of kiting can't fix. They will throw some rocks at us though, which is a little annoying. The halberd seems to do a great job of breaking posture every time we swing it, and that is very nice. It seems the old crew wasn't keen on sharing their treasure. As for the chest, it won't bite, one would hope. Take a risk and open the chest. 4 silver ingots and 5 guineas, which are coins. And now we have this other structure over here, more ruins for us to explore. And if I remember correctly, the inhabitants of these ruins are more boars, so that is something I am more than looking forward to claiming. We took some damage. Nice and simple. Genuinely, the halberd seems like quite a good option for taking on enemies. an ancient chest with some blueprints for some new building options. It unlocks a wooden bed with a straw headboard and a coarse blanket, offering a simple but cozy place to rest, part of the Jungle Survivor building set. There are still 2 chests for us to loot nearby, as well as more sows for us to die to. Oops. That's okay. We have all this food on us and we're not eating it, so genuinely it is my fault for being lazy about consuming my consumables. That's alright. Oh, man. So we'll make our way back to where we died. It still dumbfounds me just how much damage the enemies in this game do. They are brutally punishing if you're overly aggressive. And that includes the human enemies as well. Sometimes, though, it seems that the enemies themselves don't wish to be stunned when you're hitting them continually. There is a window where you have to wait in order to strike them again, to continually CC them. Although I think with this, yeah, we can just swing and keep swinging. The two-handed weapon seems incredibly strong compared to a lot of the other items I've been using in this game. But that's honestly a welcome change. Maybe it is just the halberd that has this wide reach. And that is another set of building plans for us, which we can learn. As well as some more herbs. And there's one more chest that we have to find. And there we go. We are now level 2, which means we get 4 stat points to spend on our character. So if we go over to the progression tab, I think we're simply going to split our points between vitality and endurance. Our damage is phenomenal for now, and if we keep up with our weapon upgrades, I highly doubt that that is going to change. But our inventory is full yet again, so let's make our way back to camp, check on the copper production that we have going, and then proceed to explore the next and last point of interest on our island. Will it be more enemies to face, another ambush, or possibly more buried treasure? We'll find out soon enough. We do have the ability to sail on our boat, but to call what we have right now a boat seems a little ambitious. And these other large ships out on the water are pretty daunting to face. But with a small vessel comes a small target. So we'll see if they can even hit a little dinghy out in the water. Our charcoal kiln is finally done producing all of the charcoal that we have set it out to do. But sadly, that is not enough to smelt all of the copper that we have. And with that as well, we can go ahead and build ourselves a copper axe. But we are out of wood, because I just used all of it to start more charcoal production. So a few trees left on our stone pickaxe, or sorry, stone axe, before we toss it to the wayside for a better stronger option. I do love that the trees falling into other trees makes it that much faster to chop and chop away. So that should be more than enough wood that we need right now. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and make ourselves the copper axe. And then we are good to go. The last of our stone tools can drift away into the water. And we will go ahead and produce some more charcoal and more copper bars. And that should be good for now. We do need to chop down some trees because our wood supply is running low. And then after we do this, we'll go ahead and head on over to the last point of interest on our map. An area on the island that I haven't yet really explored. Although what I will also do is wait until it is morning as the sun is setting over the horizon. And nighttime isn't exactly my favorite time to explore. So let us set our heart to rest and lay down until morn. As the clouds roll by and the sun rises again on a new dawn, Q sets off once more to see what other treasures his small island has to offer his dangerous journey. I do hope that this small outlet isle has more boar for us to, I want to say slaughter, but that's such a barbaric word. Upon our next level, we will also get our first perk points, which will be great to help progress our character. I think we'll probably spend them on some endurance, because stamina is very important in this game. So here we have a decrepit chest with a small journal in it called Twist of Fancy. Came across a smuggler's cache yesterday, found a pinch of gunpowder and a bottle of rum. If their other hideouts are as bare, they must be in bad shape. Rumor has it, smuggling on Tortuga is run by Henry Every. Probably nonsense. His fancy hasn't put to sea in 20 years, though once they told legends about him. One of them says Henry took an Indian ship whose holds were bursting with treasure. With the first broadside, the lucky pirate shot away the mainmast and went in to board. Mr. Every fought at the fore and crossed blades with the Indian captain. They seemed evenly matched until the Indian slipped. Henry pressed a blade to his throat, tore away the face-covering cloth, and froze, staring at a beautiful woman, a princess of the Mughal Empire. The ship's true captain was hiding in the hold like a coward. Henry had him keel-hauled, but ordered the princess and her escort left untouched. After that, Henry Every vanished with the riches. No one saw the princess again either. Some said she threw herself into the sea, others that she married a fortunate corsair. Whether Henry Every built a true smuggling network on Tortuga, I couldn't say. But whoever did, my thanks. I waited out the rain in the cache and moved on. I'll bury the excess gear nearby, beneath the tree marked with a red flag. Maybe I'll visit this place again one day. From the diary of Alexandra Exquemelin, a traveler. So, we are looking for a tree with a red flag. And there is, of course, more boar for us to defeat. Hooray. Where there is a boar, there is also most likely a sow. And this is a 1-star boar. Interesting. I assume this just means it'll have more health. And it's knocked over. It does a little bit more damage too. One thing I really have to watch with this is my stamina. And we did get 2 rough hide from defeating that one, so that is very nice. But if we look here, there is the tree with the red flag, or red cloth. So if we pull out our shovel and go ahead and dig nearby, we'll see if we can't uncover what is buried. If we can. I wonder where it is. I'm digging quite deep. Ah, there we are. The decrepit cache. Some gunpowder and some healing potions. Very nice. I think we're going to go ahead and raise up the dirt that we dug. Just because I dislike the look of the indented ground. Also, if that 1-star boar respawns, then we don't want it to. Or if it won't respawn, if it's not like flat terrain. I would hate to see that. It does confuse me when the game does things like this. I wonder how they create these flattening algorithms for the game. Okay, let's go ahead and finish exploring this small island. I do see yet more boar, which is great. There's also some sweet potatoes and sweet potato seeds here. I haven't seen those yet. Oop. That boar managed to hide in the bushes for minutes. And there we go. Another boar down. Some more dodos. I think we have a long while yet before the sun sets. But with that, our starter island is completely completed, for lack of a better word. And we can now head on to bigger and grander things. To the west of us is the island in which we will be heading to find a boat to repair. But there are some things I would like to square away before we head over. Specifically, I would like to build a fast travel spot for us here, so we can come back nice and easy. And I'm going to make another travel bow so that at our next point of interest, or our next spot that we visit, we'll be able to fast travel there and back at our leisure. So we need to make another bell And there we go. They are 10 copper apiece, so they are slightly expensive, but it is worth the cost for the convenience of being able to go to and fro, base to base, at our leisure. And with that, I think we are going to just use whatever boar stuff we have to make armor, upgrade said armor, and move on away from this island. We have a full set of our sailor's attire, and we'll upgrade what we can. I'm going to throw the rest of our old clothing into the foray. And now, with our bell and new gear, Q will sail to the west in search of a new island with new treasures. Although, hopefully, these boats won't bother us too bad. But this is our first venture out onto the open waters. And what is nice is once we set our boat to sail, we can simply stay on it and manage our inventory and so on. So let's go ahead and do just that. We'll browse through our new discoveries, see exactly what our adventure log has in store for us. We're heading here to create our new, bigger boat, because we do need a bigger boat. And in our library, we have the sketch of the island, the traveler's notes that we found, and our 2 challenges that we have yet to complete. They unlock for us the ability to create small taxidermied heads to place upon our structures, should we wish. I get the feeling that these boats are indeed going to shoot at us, but I highly doubt that they'll be able to hit such a small target. And that's perfectly fine. I wonder if we'd be able to manipulate them into hitting each other over hitting us, but I highly doubt it. The island we're sailing to is still out of sight, unfortunately. We are still very near to our starting island. It seems as though it'll take us quite a little while to reach the next point of interest. But when we do get there, we'll put down a nice little fast travel spot and so on. As we ride by any barrels or lost cargo on the open sea, we're able to pick it up and add it to our wares. And just now we're able to see the island on the horizon. Although I should say group of islands, because it looks as though it is 2 separate little groups of islands. An archipelago, if you will. This small ship struggles quite a lot to stay going in a straight line on such rough seas. No fault of its own, of course, but the waters are very choppy at the moment. I don't know if you guys have ever been on a boat. I have several times in my life, whether it's a speedboat or a motorboat or being towed out on a surfboard to enjoy the beautiful waves. But there is quite a lot of people, a lot of people close to me that do not fare well out on the water. I am very fortunate to not suffer from motion sickness of any kind in a majority of these situations that I have been in, whether on a boat, a plane, long car rides, or really any form of transportation. I've seen what it does to people, and I count myself among the lucky to not have to deal with motion sickness. We're getting closer and closer to this new island. So hopefully it holds a boat that we can use to sail about the ocean. And I genuinely don't think that these ships can hit our little dinghy. I mean, why would they want to anyway? We're just one man out on a single sail raft. Although, I suppose, if our doctor was the one who stole this raft and escaped the custody of the Blackbeards, then it would make sense that they are mad at whoever stole their dinghy. This ship reminds me so very much of the first boat we see Captain Jack Sparrow riding in on to Port Royal. The opening scene of Pirates of the Caribbean. Oh, what a masterful scene, by the way. Having it so perfectly designed to showcase exactly who Jack Sparrow is as a character. And so we land aground at our first new island. Of course, with coastal dodos aplenty. We do need a little bit of wood in order to craft our fast travel point, and for the sake of my sanity and not having to go across that whole voyage again, that is going to be our first priority here, is putting down another fast travel, or I suppose our first fast travel point to another island. If I don't die to falling trees first. But that brings us to 36 wood, and enough to place down our fast travel bow. It looks as though there's a large ship off in the distance. We'll probably build close to that, because I think that's the boat that we use to make our new boat. We'll repair that and then end up sailing it across the ocean. I do wonder if it's being guarded by enemies or if there's going to be some catch to repairing it, but the surgeon did say that we'd need a crew to pull off the repairs. So most likely that will be the catch, is that we cannot repair it alone. There are enemies right by it. Understood. We'll place our bell here, and I actually haven't fought any of these crabs yet. They looked a little spooky, to say the least. But it doesn't seem like they'll cause us any actual trouble. I say as I almost die. I think I almost died because of the guy throwing the rock at us, though. He is a swollen drowned. I haven't seen one of these guys before. Let's go ahead and eat, just in case he's actually genuinely dangerous. So far, he's just thrown rocks at us. That doesn't seem too bad at all, actually. Okay. Let's check what it is exactly that we need to upgrade our boat to this beautiful vessel. The ship on the shore is badly damaged. We'll have to labor to get her afloat. You need 100 wood, 20 nails, 20 coarse fabric, and 10 ropes. Honestly, not too bad. The armored drowned doesn't take stagger when we hit it. Understood. He's running for us, though. He's trying. Oh, we have a storm. I wonder if he'll stagger from it. No. Interesting. So this is where parrying would probably be the better option to fight this enemy. But all is well. A simple, simply one combat. And we do have our fast travel spot here now. However, our inventory is getting quite full yet again. So we'll leave for now and come on back momentarily to refill or to take our fill from this island. Because it does seem as though there's quite a bit of items for us to loot. We are getting close to the point where I would want to stop recording. I have sat in my chair for about 2 hours, and a bathroom break is getting pretty close. But for now, we'll keep going. I do want to explore this island at least a little bit, and maybe try to repair the boat before we call it for this session. Because I feel like that's a good spot to stop it for the next portion, where we start sailing on the open seas and have our crew singing shanties to us. So here's another ruin, and we have a charging boar this time. These seem quite easy for us to deal with. I do have to say, the two-handed weapon makes this very easy. Oop. Another charging boar. The fact that 3 left clicks stuns them and leaves them so vulnerable to an opening is incredibly nice. There's a broken gate. The gate was ripped out along with its... Oh, interesting. Someone put a lot of effort into breaking it down. There's a skeleton here. 2 bullet holes gape in the skull. So it looks like this place was raided by pirates. Who could have guessed that in a pirate game, the place was raided by pirates? There are 3 things for us to loot here, but I haven't found a single one. Human bones lie scattered on the ground, all the remains of the hanged. Let us search around a little bit more and try to find anything of value here. And probably up top if I had to guess. I most likely just missed it. Aha, I did. It's all up here. Old skeleton, elixir of precision, a 2-handed sword. I'll jump across and get this really... Oh, never mind. I failed the first and only platforming challenge we have faced in this game so far. That bodes well. No coyote frames, it seems. A buccaneer's chest with some copper and iron bullets, along with some homemade gunpowder. Hopefully that'll come in handy. And the last corpse with a torn hat and a last letter. So we have started the quest for the Glorious Hunters. The hat is the brim of the leather hat that is torn in several places. The name Marcel Boucher is embroidered on the lining. The letter says late March 17XX. The pirates finally caught up with us. They must have taken me for dead, though. I'll soon be for certain. Blood is pouring from my belly without end. I'm sure the others in the island's remaining ruins are dead as well. If anyone finds these notes, tell Henry that and the rest of the text is smeared with blood. So it seems as though this party of expeditioners was raided by pirates and slaughtered by them here. We have these misty orchids as well. I wonder if those are herbs used for crafting. The storm really does make it hard to see. I love that. I can't imagine being out on the water right now, trying to sail through this. There we go. A couple more dodos down, and that looks like another charging boar. Oh, it's a 1-star boar. Never mind. We have no stamina. Gotcha. I will say the rested bonus we have lasting for this long is incredibly nice. And that is another blueprint for decorative bowls, a basket of peppers, and a tray of herbs. Some more decoration to make our homes feel more homey. I'll never complain about that. I really like being able to decorate our houses as much as we can in this game. Hello, boar. Nice and simple. With the new armor, it does seem as though the enemies aren't dealing nearly as much damage to us. But we'll see how much the upgrades affect that as well. There's a shabby desk here. Rusted hide dressing tools are scattered across the table. There's a buccaneer's chest here. A broken musket and another note. A heavy musket of excellent quality, likely made to order. It's broken, yet still bears the marks of safekeeping. The initials MB are engraved upon the metal inlay of the stock. Early March, 17XX. The expedition began well enough. We established ourselves on the island and took over 3 ruins. We'll sleep in the first, turn the second into a storehouse, and fortify the third properly in case of trouble. For reasons beyond me, my idiots even hauled a gate all the way up to the 2nd floor. Louis spotted 3 ships belonging to the Blackbeard pirates. I ordered my men to stay away from the shoreline and hunt deeper in the jungle. Louis flew into a rage. He wants to lure the pirates into a trap and gun them down. A fool. There are as many of them as rats in a cellar, and we're short on powder. I promised I'd skin him myself and stretch his hide over a boar if he keeps stirring the others up. Well, that sounds like a way to go. Belongings are piled and abandoned, as if the camp was left in a hurry. Another chest, a club, a melee weapon. Interesting. It does seem that there is one. Oh, never mind. That is actually it for things to explore here. So we did get 2 new weapons, a club and a 2-handed sword. I might like to have another gun beside the old pistol that we have, but if we're sticking to using 2-handed weapons anyway, I highly doubt a gun will be necessary for our survival. And so this is the last area. There's another charging boar and a savage boar here. Alright. let's go ahead and shoot one of these to try to get them over here. Oh, this savage boar is so fast. Oh, it's because it can charge, like the charging boars do. Understood. Wow. Let's take out the small one first. Ouch. That is a lot of damage. Oh, and there's a sow here too. This is a bit of a dangerous encounter, not gonna lie. Oh no. Okay, well, definitely makes for a interesting combat. I've never seen my health be that much of a sliver before. That'll do it. Well, that's okay. We can always just simply fast travel back and reclaim our items. Since we were smart enough to bring a bell on over here. But the story of this place seems pretty interesting. I suppose that the guy who was trying to lure the pirates did it anyway. Or they didn't, and the pirates noticed them along the river, or along the beach line, and sent a raiding party to take care of the explorers and loot them for all they had. Alright, let us try this again. We'll finish off this boar first. And now for the main event. One of the savage boars. Or finishing off the savage boars. I will have my vengeance. Oh, I suppose not. Maybe for enemies like that don't stagger when we hit them, having a way to parry them is the better option. I think that is probably the best answer that I can give. We do have a club. Let us try this instead. I think we'll be able to properly defend ourselves with a smaller weapon, which doesn't exactly make sense in my brain, but mechanically it somewhat does. Let me not forget to eat again as well. Buff ourselves up so that our health bar isn't something that disappears in a single hit. And give this a third and hopefully final try. Our damage won't be as high because we do have a club, but it doesn't seem we're able to parry with this either. Interesting. Yeah, we can't parry with that. Okay. I understand. Well, we'll just do one hit and then dodge away then. I think that's the best way for us to go about that. An old tanning rack, hide still hanging, wild boar. Something else noticed us, another charging boar. This is easy enough to take care of. I say as I almost succumb to injury by it. That's okay though. This area should be safe now, and even the storm has let up for us to explore. I think that is a button on that wall. And there's a supply crate back here. And yep, a buccaneer's chest for us to pilfer through. Rubbish and damp gunpowder. Interesting. Again, I would love to have some kind of ranged weapon that isn't this shabby old pistol, but it seems we are not so lucky just yet. There's also another undiscovered place to the northeast of us, but we are out of bandages and also have a full inventory. So I think really quick we're going to head back home and store things, heal up, and then we'll see what that is over there. And then go venture across the other islands. We'll start with the smallest first and then go over to the larger of the two. I suppose as well I could grab enough wood to finish repairing the boat, as well as the nails, cloth, and rope we need. But for now, we are back home in our small little abode, ready to store more things and make more storage soon, it would seem. We have quite a bit of rough hide. That's very nice. We'll keep the bell on us. And I think we'll use this rough hide to upgrade. Ooh, I meant to upgrade, not craft. Whoops. There we go. We'll go ahead and upgrade our sailor's boots, upgrade our gloves, upgrade our helmet. And just like that, we are starting to be in shape. We don't need this on us, but what we do need is some bandages. We'll grab another stack of 10. We also probably need some nails, but we can get nails from destroying some shipwrecks around, and I don't exactly want to do another mining foray. And we need wood anyway, so might as well make the rounds across the circumference of our island and see if we can't get enough nails and wood from destroying boxes and barrels and shipwrecks to help craft our vessel. And I'm sure there will be enough. The copper that we have left I'd like to use to upgrade our weapon to its maximum current potential with our setup and materials. But we'll see if we have enough for that. I highly doubt that it'll take more than what we currently have. And I think we do still have some more ore to smelt as well. This game is very pretty to look at a lot of the time. So if we open our journal, can we see what we need? 20 nails, 20 pieces of coarse fabric, 10 rope, and 100 wood. Well, we already have almost enough nails just from scavenging around these shipwreck parts on this side of the coast. If you guys would like for me to grab a quieter keyboard too, some people extremely dislike the noise of the mechanical keyboard, which I don't blame them. It's not my favorite noise in the world, but I do like the tactile functionality that most of the mechanical keyboards offer. It is currently 2 p.m. Something is angry at me. I can't tell what. Interesting. It says there's an enemy aggroed onto me, but I couldn't see what it was. I love that there's just these shipwrecks around here. It really helps the world feel like it was lived in, as well as all the little lore tidbits and journal entries that we've gotten so far. Those have been very fun to read through and learn about how people lost their way here on these islands. It's stuff like that that really helps a world feel alive. It seems as though that enemy is bugged, and for some reason something is mad at me and I cannot see what. But wherever it was, it seems to be gone now. Oh, no, it's still here. Interesting. I wonder what it is. It seems as though we have run past it. We also have to defeat more boar. It seems now that there are multiple of them. I wonder if the enemies on the coastline here simply didn't spawn, or if they've somehow fallen through the ground. That's alright. That's nothing the next launch of this game won't be able to fix. And just from getting the amount of nails we need from these shipwrecks, we have also procured the amount of wood we need from these shipwrecks. So we are basically set to go repair our boat. Although we will still need to rescue a crew. We can't sail a boat of that size on our own. We're not William Turner and and Jack Sparrow, of course. I do have to say, the damage output on these two-handed weapons is ridiculous. I have yet to find a use for feathers. I wonder what they are used for, and if they're important enough to keep, because it's not as though there are arrows or anything. I wonder if we can find any more boar nearby. I love that we can find peppers. Hey look, more boar. Speak of the devil. No, there's only one sow, which is interesting. Usually there are two. I wonder if there's another one close by, hiding in the bushes. There we go. It's almost like I've played these games before. And I will happily take some more cayenne peppers. Speaking of getting cayenne pepper seeds, I wonder if those bushes by our home are finally done growing, and if so, what they have on them. We'll go ahead and bandage up really quick, because it does look as though there's another boar den here. That one decided to get behind me. Interesting. Every time there's one of these boar dens, it seems as though there's sweet potato seeds nearby. I wonder what biological reason they have for that. Or if it was just a decision made by the game developers to do so. Regardless, we have enough materials now to go ahead and repair our boat. So, once we nab a little bit more plant fiber and cut our way through the jungle, we'll go ahead and repair the boat and see what else we need to do. If I am correct, it's most likely just going to be rescuing the remaining crew members. And it is perfect timing for us to return home because it is now night. I doubt we'll need more plant fiber than what we have, but we shall see. That brings our total to almost 120. And the dodos respawned here. Interesting. So it looks like it takes about 3 or 4 in-game days for enemies to respawn in zones. And it also looks like the shrubs themselves will eventually grow. Good to know. We can't seem to plant the other seeds we have, the cayenne pepper seeds. That's alright though. Maybe there's actual farming structures for us to mess with later. So, here's our 100 wood. Now I get to do the bad thing of searching through the inventories I haven't kept organized. There's our nails. And then let's make the coarse fabric that we need. We need, I think it said 20. No, we'll go ahead and make 40 because we're going to use it anyway. And then 10 rope. We'll make 15 and then call it a day. Let's go ahead and put the materials we need to repair the boat at the boat. Hopefully the enemies here haven't respawned just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if they had. And they haven't. Hooray. We'll examine the shipwreck and repair the ship. Spend 100 wood, 20 nails, 20 coarse fabric, and 10 ropes. I need a bigger boat. To finish the repairs and get her afloat, we'll need hands. 7 men should do. And so we are needing to rescue our crew. Nice and simple. Going back to our base really quick, we're going to store the remainder of the items we've made. And also sleep until morning so that we don't have to deal with the darkness when we're trying to rescue our crewmates. And now it is day, so we'll rise up and head on out. Before we do, there's still 50 wood in our inventory and 16 nails. There we go, much better. Let's talk to the doctor guy. I don't know if he'll ever have anything for us to use. Do you have anything for me? Oh, he does. He gave us a minor healing potion. Interesting. Alrighty. Onward to the other side of this island. I said we were going to go explore the small one first, so let's go do that. And there we go. On our way again, on our little skiff to cross and hop from island to island. What a beautiful game. I love the skyline, the clouds. They're so picturesque. And the abundance of storms whenever we're out in the world has been very calming and soothing. The sound of rain is such a comforting, I don't want to say noise, but it is kind of just noise. But again, it is comforting. So these thorn fiddlers, for their horrible naming convention, drop the undead essence. So I wonder if they're sort of undead crabs, which is an interesting thought. Let's go ahead and eat again because I did forget to upkeep our food buffs. And we now have a potion on our hotbar. I think those provide instant healing as opposed to the first aid effect that we have from our bandages. Simple as, and there's a nice decrepit chest for us to loot here. A box of medicine, some provisions, some steel nails, and flagpoles as a recipe. Interesting. Curse these pirates. They've landed and are now combing the island. We've barricaded ourselves inside the fortified ruin with sentries posted at the other two. A few days ago, Louis disobeyed orders and led some of the lads off. Of course, they walked straight into an ambush. We had to pull them out, but only two made it back. If my musket hadn't misfired, Louis would still be alive. The pirates are closing in. We'll have to abandon the loot and withdraw. The most valuable items will go into a cache. I forgot to read that note, but now we have. With the abundance of the drowned and the supernatural zombie-like enemies, I do genuinely wonder if there are other types of boats than just the pirates out on the waters. If we'll get to see Davy Jones himself and fight off an undead armada of of pirates. I think that would be very interesting. And if we can see there, it looks as though there's a group of pirates settled on the edge of the water here. Unfortunate that I traded blows at the end there. We got bananas. I didn't notice that there were bananas there. We're going to let our health regenerate just a little bit more and then go in sword brandished versus this group of pirates. They seem to be dropping new hand insignias, which is interesting. Don't walk away and get me out of here. Gallon sent me. I'll have you out in a flash. Hold fast. The lock's jammed. Glad the doc made it. Just don't leave me, mate. There's devilry in this place. I don't leave a man behind. Thanks, matey. If it weren't for you, they'd finish me off today. After the doc got away, there were 3 of us left. The drowned took 2. Nearly had me as well. Do you know where the pirates are holding the others captive? In a camp like this, scattered across the archipelago. Head to my camp nearby. You'll be safe there. Together, we'll get out of this place. Keep watch for other pirates nearby. Well, there we go. And we get some nifty little armor, some boots. as a reward. Well, oh, they're all the way down there. Understood. Way to the south of us. We'll finish exploring this other island really quick and then head on over to save the last of our crewmates. Although, it is getting to the point where I may have to cut off this episode, so we'll probably actually just sail back, get our inventory sorted, and then call it for tonight's episode. I already have another one of these up on the channel, and if you wish to view it, you are more than happy to. As well as if you want to catch me live on Twitch, there will be a link to that down in the description below. And again, if you guys have any other games that you want to see on this channel and want to fall asleep to the sound of, just let me know. I have quite a large variety of Steam games and other means of playing some retro titles. So, I'm more than happy to oblige for whatever games you guys wish to hear and experience on this channel. So, landing back at our small fast travel spot, we're going to head on back to our base, stow away our valuables, and Q will lay down for one final rest before we stop today's session. So while I do this, thank you guys so much for enjoying this video. I can't wait to see you in the next one, where maybe we'll be playing some Last Epoch, or just maybe we'll return to our seafaring adventures as Q. I hope you sleep well, and I hope you have a wonderful night filled with dreams of sailing the open seas. And as always, if you want to see the other video that I have produced, it'll be right on screen now, and I will see you there.